It's Thursday, October 15th, 2015. Spooky. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, spookily, we talk about Halloween.
Ali.
Let's do this. Fun fact, Halloween is actually the official anniversary day of Geeknights. That's when we published our first episode, legit.
That wasn't a beta episode.
Yeah. Though, fun other fact, we started putting episodes up starting with the episode like a week after Halloween, but then I finally edited, I was basically going back through the beta episodes, and I decided that October 31st, that we happened to do an episode that day, was the furthest back I could go where episodes were still listenable, so I retconned and put them in the feed. So we'd recorded that one originally as a beta, sort of, and like I said, but I'll talk about it in a moment, I might make it more accessible for you guys to get the old beta episodes.
That's so boring. That's like just telling everyone the terrible secret of space.
Well, they'll have to pay.
Oh, you want to make people pay?
Oh, it's gonna be Patreon. I'm not just gonna give it to you fuckers. You're gonna subscribe to our Patreon and give us money if you want that business.
So
I'm gonna trickle them out.
So I got some opening bits.
Oh, you got some opening bits?
Yeah.
In fact, those have never been published, so we could license those, not Creative Commons.
I don't know about that. I think they say Creative Commons at the end of them.
There's no way those do. We didn't even do. Our intro, as you recall, was the song that we sang.
Have you listened to these?
Yeah.
I haven't.
We sang a fun. Here's a fun fact. This isn't meta.
I don't remember anything.
No, you don't. What's the name of the ark that the bad people took down into the Prince of Nothing world and fucked it up?
The Ark?
Yeah.
It's called the Ark?
Inku Halones. Anyway.
No. Isn't that where it landed?
That's also the name of the ark.
What is the name? The people that were on it were the Inko Roy?
Name any character who is a female in those books.
Esmenet?
All right. We remember some things. So
I forget the other girl though, the one who was like a surfing girl.
Yeah, I knew her name, and then
so you don't remember that shit either.
So I did, but then my brain said Egwene or Egwene.
Wrong book.
Yeah, my brain fucked it up.
Anyway, so
so Scott and I in the beta episodes in the early days of Geeknights, we sang an opening song together for every episode.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember that? You
No.
don't remember the song?
No.
I could sing it right now, but I almost want to save it for the...
I can go listen whenever I want.
You guys are really fucking lucky we did not decide to keep singing that song as our opening. That's all I'm saying.
All right, anyway. Oh, is it this one? Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's that one.
Okay.
Scott remembers. You remember things.
Apparently. All right, opening bit. So I ordered some stuff on Amazon, like you do.
Oh, I did too recently.
And they divided it into 2 deliveries, like you do.
No.
And they were supposed to arrive like yesterday. So yesterday, I get home and there's nothing there. And then I check the tracking a little bit later after I eat a salad and watch some TVs or whatever, play some Rocket League. And it says delivered. So I go to the door and there it is. But there's only 1 box there. So I'm like, where's box number 2? So I go back and I check the tracking and it's like, box number 2 delivered yesterday. I'm like, what?
Oh.
And it says signed for by Gabriella. And I'm like,
whoa.
I don't know who Gabriella is, and Gabriella is not me.
I know a Gabby, and I don't know any other Gab star people.
So I go to the Amazon chat, and I'm like, and I mean, there's nothing really in there. It was like shampoo and a towel. And a washcloth.
It's not like when I ordered like the Marantz or the Countryman or any of that business.
Yeah, I decided to stop because I used to just use my old regular towels for the floor towel. I actually bought a floor towel that's meant to be a floor towel.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Anyway, for the bathroom, yeah, that matches. Anyway, so I'm like, congratulations, thief, you got a towel.
But you signed your name for it.
Yeah, anyway, so I go to the chat on Amazon, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't get this. I don't know who this is. They're like, okay, well, you want us to send you another one or a refund? I'm like, send me another one, but don't you care who this is? They're like, yeah, we'll investigate.
No, they
all right,
won't.
Are you all set? I'm like, yeah, I'm all set. And it's like, they don't even give a shit. It's like, dude.
Well, there's this interesting problem where,
if the other package had something expensive in it, what if it was that one that they had signed
maybe
for?
Then they'd care.
Maybe.
What it comes down to is that's this, like, step back. We've had things stolen, and like when your Xbox and all that was stolen, like the dude fucking logged in with your account, like we had an IP address. It kept logging in, and the detectives gave 0 fucks.
Well, he sort of like he put in like the token effort, like he knew he could do it, but it doesn't seem like he went through with it.
Yeah, but like imagine what our society could be like if there was a way for actual criminal
You
investigation
mean
to
if all the
occur.
detectives were like Batman?
Not Batman. I don't even like break into bars and like break people's fingers.
But I mean,
and-
just, they're smart enough to just figure it out and actually do the job.
you don't need Batman for that. You just need pretty much 80 IQ and up. Like it's not rocket science.
Anyway.
80 IQ and the most minimal of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So in the news, something interesting happened. There's a lot of stuff. You're going to see Thursday episodes especially. A lot of things that are a little bit older coming up. One, because Geeknights we've never claimed to be timely. You shouldn't be getting your news for us. You're getting commentary from us. And two, I was in Australia and Singapore and Hong Kong for like 3.5 weeks. So a lot of stuff happened that I didn't get to talk about publicly with all you people. And one of those things that a lot of you might not have noticed, Kickstarter is now a benefit corporation.
I didn't know that this was a thing.
Nor did I.
But now I know.
So apparently, the gist of this is right now, there are, if you think of corporations, you usually think of two kinds. There's either the
S Corp, C Corp,
Well,
LLC,
if you're
sole proprietorship.
you might know more than the average bear. But if you're not Yogi, if you're just an average bear, there's for-profit companies and there's non-profit companies. A lot of you, especially Geeknights listeners, might know this because your anime convention is probably a non-profit and they probably have a badly written charter, and that's why when you want to do something cool, some lawyer says, oh, we can't do that or we'll lose our non-profit status. And that's why a lot of other conventions are for-profits. They don't have to worry about that. But a PBC is interesting because the problem with corporations, especially for-profit corporations, is that legally their duty is to the shareholders to maximize their value. So if Scott and I ran Rim & Scott Corp and we sold, like we had stock or we had investors, and we decided to raise salaries for our employees because we're good people and we want them to have living wages, the shareholders could sue us for not executing our fiduciary duty and maximizing their value.
Right. We work for the company that they invest in. We run the shit, and they're suing us because we're not making that. We could be giving them more money instead of our employees. We'd have to prove to them that actually giving our employees more money is resulting in them getting more money because it means we can hire better employees, which results in more profits. And if we can't prove that, then they'll sue us.
Never mind the fact
win.
that corporations count as people, so corporations are basically immortal, psychotic sociopaths that live forever, siphoning
the
money.
thing I don't understand is, if you look at the history of corporations in America, there used to be very few of them. They used to be very limited. They used to only exist for a short period of time. Like the Build This Railroad from Here to Here Corporation. It exists to build this railroad from here to here, and then it's gone, right? It was a very limited thing that had a purpose, and then it sort of blew out of proportion. But why is there any other kind of corporation besides public benefit corporation? Why should the for-profit corporation even
be
exist?
suffered to exist is what I would say. And you know what? Turns out Scott and I are actually pretty left on the scale of politics. And I'm very much, I think I said a tweet about this, but basically it's okay to me if two different video game companies are trying to compete with each other for profits. I don't really care that much.
No.
But two health insurance companies, profit should not be motivator number one. Motivator number one should be providing that service and paying all your employees a reasonable wage. So the fact that Kickstarter did this, and it's cool because basically they had to go to all their investors and shareholders and everyone
because they weren't this. It's easy enough to start as one of these from the get-go, but to switch to being one of these, if you have some jerk-ass shareholder, they'll sue you if you try.
Yeah, but apparently the vote was unanimous, and I'm going to link
because it's not like it was traded on Nizy, right?
Yeah.
It's the only people who had shares of Kickstarter were probably cool people. They probably weren't selling them to anybody.
But there's a lot more going on here, but one, read this because this is really cool, and I think more people need to realize that, one, this is an option, two, this happened, and also, I have a lot of respect for Kickstarter now because this is basically my dream. If I owned 100% a big game company, I would want. I always wanted it to be a straight up nonprofit if I had to. I
would want like a company where like all employees are equal at the company. Everyone owns an equal share and everything, right?
Well, it depends because you might hire someone who's good at doing the company's stuff, but you wouldn't want them to have, say, other levels of control. They might be bad.
I'll
at
let
other
the janitor
things.
have. I'm good.
Yeah, you can have a share.
So you want to hear a related interesting news?
Ooh.
So Square, the swipey payment company.
Oh yeah.
So they're going public, or they're trying to ish, right? And that's, I don't know. I can't give investment advice. It's not the worst investment.
Yeah.
They're a successful business.
I actually learned a lot about them recently because I didn't know how they were handling the chip stuff and like the new terminals. And actually, the way they're handling it is way better than I thought. Like,
but anyway,
good
so
job.
they're going public, and in the document of like, because you make all these documents and you go public, and it's like risks, right? And one of the risks on their going public sheet, you know what it says?
What's it say?
Well, the risk, I don't know the exact words they used, but it's basically like, look, we have a risk of going public. Some of our employees have a lot of shares, and if we go public at our current valuation, they will become so mega rich, they'll probably just fucking leave. And that would just tank the company without those employees. And that makes me like Square if it has the kind of people who will just leave.
Yep.
Like I would.
Yeah, if I
and
had
now
enough.
it's like, Square, if you call me up, maybe I'll actually talk to you on the phone, unlike every other company.
Yeah, see also Kickstarter. I'm actually like...
but I got to get in on some of those shares. I don't need too many.
Yeah.
I'll take a lot less than everyone else has got, just a few. Like 10. 10 is good, just enough that I don't have to work.
Like all I want
I don't need the yacht.
out of a game company, like if I had that cash out, I wouldn't go 100% to the beach. But what I would do is basically form a company to make cool things. And as long as it just paid everyone enough money who worked at it to live in New York about at the level that we live in New York right now, like I'd run that forever. If I made extra profits, I'd use that money either to charity or to make games that won't be popular that I want. Like that. Like imagine if we had money like that. Like let's just make, buy the license and make Advance Wars. Like go for it. Hire all those people.
The thing is, you look at people who own a company of that scale, right? Like Penny Arcade. They're still drawing comics. Why don't they just go to the beach and be like, fuck you?
Because I think
I'll go to PAX and I'm done with you.
I think they enjoy doing those things for now still. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, but like every 3 days a fucking week, it's like, yeah, I'd make a Geek Nights when I felt like it if I was on the beach. Not twice a week, every week, no matter what.
But if I wasn't doing all this other 9 to 5 bullshit work, I'd probably feel like making actually more Geek Nights because it's really fun to make Geek Nights if it isn't the only thing that makes Geek Nights not fun.
Geek Nights would not be my first choice of thing to make if I had plenty of time.
But it competes.
Perhaps bread and cookies would go up higher.
But right now it
list.
competes for time with other things. That's the problem.
Playing King Arthur Pendragon while on a boat would go way up the list.
Yeah, but you know what? If we were playing King Arthur Pendragon on a boat, we'd be live streaming that shit.
We could do one Tuesday episode about it when we're all done 10 years later.
Yeah, but you'd also get 10 years of live streams.
Maybe.
I would live stream. I would do so much video. The only reason I don't is because I don't have time. Anyway. So that's my news. You got any news on Geek Nights Thursday?
Other than
the lounge?
This game is going to be over by the time you hear this, most people. I know there are some crazy people who listen to the episode as soon as we upload it, in which case the game is probably happening.
Once I finish, I'm doing some renovations in the studio. I'm thinking about live streaming all our Geek Nights on YouTube again, now that I can do that.
Tonight, October 15th, 2015, there is an important baseball game in Los Angeles between the Mets and the not anymore Brooklyn Dodgers. Not Brooklyn anymore Dodgers. And the winner of that game will go to play in more baseball games this year. The loser of that game will go home and take a nap and play baseball again next year.
So aren't the Cubs going to win the World Series or something?
If that happens, it'll be the craziest of crazies.
Is it going to be Mets Cubs? Like, what's going on?
So yeah, whoever wins is going to go play the Cubs in a best of 7. And whoever wins 4 of those 7 games will go to the World Series against.
So there's one funny. It's not my thing of the day, but there's a college humor video recently that was like, if Back to the Future happened and they went to 2015, and it's just like today, and it's just one of those like no flying cars, everything sucks. There's still racism. There aren't hoverboards. But at one point, there's this long monologue that happens because he sees like Cubs, and he's like, "Oh, the Cubs won the World Series." And then there's this long thing about actually baseball is in a steep decline in interest and blah 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 and steroid and blah blah blah. Things of the day. I got a huge backlog of cool things I've seen, but these are interesting enough that I'm going to go by the rule of, the thing of the day, like the best thing I saw today or what, something like that. So I got 2 tweets here because these tweets are extraordinary and they're tips of icebergs. Tweet number 1 is the wizard of the Democratic debate. The
wizard.
Very few people watch the United States Democratic primary debate because it's either going to be Hillary or Bernie, and those debates aren't.
Why not both?
Because Hillary would probably not pick Bernie because as a VP, he doesn't bring a state to the table that would otherwise be in contention. That's how VP picks work for the Democrats. They'd only bring Bernie if Bernie had some.
If Vermont was swinging to the right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Vermont does not. Vermont's going to be blue.
You don't even need to visit Vermont. It's like it's a lock.
They need someone from Florida.
Vermont
Ohio.
is so far left. They're voted for Bernie to be the senator.
Meanwhile, on the other side, so the Republican debate is it's like America took everything that's fucked up about itself, and put it all on one stage, and let it all happen. So for people like me who are cynically and deeply disavowed of real politics, I treat it like football. And watching the Democratic debate is like watching...
It's a waste of time?
It's like watching that football game we saw in Buffalo that one time that we left at halftime. It's just not fun to watch.
Right, and you would have been better off. You would have been better off not watching in the first place, which is why I didn't watch in the first place.
The Republican debate is
like better off staying at home where it's warm.
Is like watching that crazy Italian fuck everything, no rules football.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, right now, so Ben Carson, Donald Trump, just some politics news that Scott doesn't care about. The two of them combined have 40 or 50% of the polling. They're actually pretty much both far and away beyond everyone else in the pack. The two of them just said apparently that they might boycott the rest of the debates because fuck you, we're going to win without him. Interesting things are happening in U.S. politics.
That, actually.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the two of them to be like, you know what? Here's what I would do if I were them.
I watch a debate when someone makes it a real debate where the person asking the questions is like, you didn't answer the question. You must answer the question. We're all going to sit here until you answer it.
Yup.
That did not answer the question. We're going to sit here again until you answer it. And when
if
you tell me the debate is doing it like that, then I will watch every single second.
I want a buzzer.
Full rapt attention.
And I want a shocker on each of them.
If you don't answer the question, if you make a tangent, if you do anything that's unrelated to the question, right? Boom.
But many other interesting things are happening in the debate.
If you don't answer fast enough, if you make a factual error, make a grammatical error.
In the Democratic debate, there was a crowd, people in the audience. And
yeah, it wouldn't be much of a debate if no one was watching.
In the audience, there is a wizard. They had this weird, bright blue rim light, light coming in from multiple angles on the audience, to make it look really cool, I guess. And everyone just looks kind of bluish. Except for this wizard dude.
He's wearing a blue shirt.
And his hair, he is a majestic wizard. And his hair is highlighted so deeply blue, it almost looks like he's photoshopped in. He is watching through the telepresence of his wizardry. And he shows up in the audience.
Maybe it was.
A lot. You cannot help but see this dude.
Well, maybe. I'm sure this dude is going to be, on some talk show soon.
Oh, definitely. This guy, I want him to run for
They're going
president.
to find this dude and talk to him, and maybe he's already an important dude to begin with. Where was the debate held? Some college, usually?
You know what?
It's usually at a college. He's probably a professor there.
If no one's done it yet, I'm going to see if I can track him down and get him on Geeknights before he shows up on real media.
All right, go for it.
If I can get this guy on Geeknights, I'm going to get him on Geeknights.
He's probably just a professor at the college.
Dude,
because usually the debates are at colleges.
I am confident that whatever this guy is...
Or he could just be local old guy.
I am confident we could have a fascinating 50-minute conversation with this dude.
Anyone who's that old, who grows that kind of beard, right, at the very least, either has war stories... grognard stories.
No, but he has the long hair too, and it's long, straight.
Or believes crazy nut conspiracy things.
It's stark white, long, straight, well-groomed hair. This is not eunuch Santa hair.
He could just be a well-groomed eunuch Santa.
But that is a contradiction.
Anyway.
And the other tweet that I got here that is equally beautiful is Danky Kang. There was an on Jeopardy.
There was an answer on Jeopardy.
Yes, there was an answer on Jeopardy. And the answer was basically, this video game character who is blue is known for collecting rings and going fast.
Could that be Knuckles the Echidna?
I
he
believe
he collects rings, and I'm colorblind. Red, blue, colorblind is a thing now.
But apparently the answer to this is Danky Kang. It's a delightful tweet.
Sure. All right, so I think I might have done a video from this guy's YouTube account as a thing of the day before.
8-bit guy?
No, not that guy. So there's a YouTube account called SW Yoon, Yoon. It's this Korean dude, but he's fluent in English, fluent enough to correctly subtitle his own videos in English. And there's like those reaction videos, like kids react, old people react, and that's usually highlighting age differences in culture. He does videos highlighting, culture shock of Korea versus rest of world, usually America, right? So, his first video ever was Korean girls are introduced to Nicki Minaj Anaconda, which is like, it's a music video that's so inappropriate it would not be allowed on Korean television, right? And he went on to make other videos like Korean guys are introduced to The Interview, which is that movie where Kim Jong-un gets blown up by a train or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
And then he goes to Japan and he asked he goes to Japan, I guess, to go to school, and he made a couple of videos that were like he went asking all the people of all the different nationalities who were at the school in Japan. And he's like, how do you tell when someone's an American? How do you tell when someone's a Korean, right?
Oh, that sounds delicious, the American one.
Right. But his latest video is the most choice, which is Korean girls watch South Park. He makes them watch South Park.
What season?
He makes them watch 2 episodes. I forget what the first episode was. Oh, the one where Butter's dad goes to the gay brothel. And the second one he makes him watch is the Steve Jobs Centipod one.
Oh, that one might be the grossest one.
And the thing is, though, is like I realized, you can watch this video for yourself if you're going to. But the thing is South Park is so American. If you're not American, it's really, really, really hard to understand what the hell's going on.
Huh, that's interesting. I never really thought about it that way.
Right. And even the newer episodes are so timely too. They're either like,
Oh yeah, so think about it. The go fuck yourselves like Redskins. How would anyone outside of the U.S. and maybe Canada even know what the fuck that's about?
They don't know shit, right? And it's like even if you understand the jokes, you're not going to laugh.
It's like us watching like really deep in Japanese shows where it's like, I get that a pun happened there.
But you don't laugh at it.
Yeah,
because
I get it, and then I see the subtitles.
I understand that was, yes, okay, you've explained it to me, but I don't laugh.
Oh, it sounded like she said caterpillar, bushy eyebrows, something? All right, and the guy has really bushy eyebrows because he's old. Okay.
I get
something happened there.
Yeah, but yeah, this guy's YouTube channel is the best. He doesn't upload too many videos. And the thing is, his video production is very good and nice, and his subtitles are good. And it's not produced the same way those other React videos are produced. Right, it's produced in a way that is pleasant to watch.
All right,
and it's short. The video's only 5.5 minutes long.
In the meta moment, the book club book was the Wheel of Time book 1, and until further notice, the new book club book is the rest of the fucking Wheel of Time because we just keep reading
the
them.
Square of Space.
It's Matt needs to shut up. Like Matt just.
He hasn't really said anything lately. He's just sort of hanging there with his magic spear that he got of evil.
But up until that point, like if he had just been quiet at any point for like the 3 previous books, a lot of things would have turned out a lot better for him. Like just listen. Someone's telling you something. Just listen to them. Stop saying, burn me, fuck you. Blah. Just shut up. And also, Perrin, work your shit out.
Also, Rand, you seem like a man with a plan now. Good job.
Yeah, Rand's doing okay.
Good job. Good job using your magical powers there.
Nina still needs to calm down. Land's getting a little uppity. Like,
he hasn't really done anything recently. He's just chilling.
He's being a little adversarial because, I guess him and Nina got to go sort out their biz.
I like the proactive go-getters. I don't like the troublemakers.
Yeah.
Also, evil guys. Some of them are good.
I like the evil guys a lot, actually.
Yeah, evil guys are getting the job done.
Yeah, do your
also,
job. What did Luke always say? Evil does its job.
Yeah, you know what? Logain.
Yeah, Logain.
Yeah, stepping up.
Well, we knew way back because they were like...
They fired him like he's a Chekhov's gun, and you know what? That trigger's getting pulled.
Yeah, these books are nothing but... Anything appears...
It's not Chekhov's gun. It's like Chekhov's armory.
Yeah, this book is just... like everything that ever comes up again later and is a big deal. Like that's just the way they go, which I'm okay with. So we'll see. People said book 6 is when we'll get tired and stop reading, so I'm curious. Other meta moment, probably starting up some Patreon biz, and I'll be talking about that more because that'll get you some things. I'm also respinning up. If you want Geeknights t-shirts, I'm gonna re-release the old t-shirt now.
Because Amazon has a thing now that's sort of like Cafe Press, only less garbagey and easier to do. So
because the main reason we stopped doing t-shirts is one, having a New York tax ID was a pain in the ass. 2, manually shipping those shirts because actually a lot of you ordered shirts. Like I had to carry a fucking bin of shirts to the post office like every few days on my way to work and dump them all in the bin one by one with my stuff. So that's kind of why I stopped offering them.
We're not trying to make money on them.
No, I'll make a little money, but mostly just, people kept asking for swag and just we're lazy. If you donate enough on the Patreon, we can quit our jobs and make all the swag you want.
Yeah, you have to donate a lot on the Patreon.
We'll make the Geeknights Loot Crate. It'll be just like Loot Crate, but we'll send you stuff if you sign up for it every month, guaranteed.
Sure.
You'll get something in the mail.
I'll send you all the stuff in my apartment I want to get rid of. Plenty of nerdy stuff.
Oh, it's Rim's last 3 cell phones and a broken RAM stick.
Huh. What's this? A super old sound card that may or may not work. Oh, and what's this? Comics that Scott bought in like a discount bin at a convention like 7 years ago that he's never going to read again.
Wow, a laser printer with a full cartridge.
Ooh, an empty inkjet cartridge.
Like $40 in Singaporean money.
Maybe that could be a business, the completely random bullshit loot crate. You have no guarantees about what will be in there. It will be something of value.
The first person, Scott, for real, the first person to do that and make a big social media splash about it will make money and get a lot of press and attention, and no one else will.
Here's how it'll work. Send us shit you want to get rid of. We will randomly send it to fucking someone else that also signed up, right? It's like super secret Santa. Everyone just send us all the stuff. We'll put it in a warehouse, shuffle it up, and send it out every month.
Yes, my name is Rim, and I'm sending you 40 barrels of toxic waste from my factory.
Oh, okay. Well, someone else is going to deal with it now. Oh.
Drop shipping.
Yeah.
That service would be nothing but industrial waste and drugs.
Well, I mean, look, if you just want to give away your fucking drugs, and we're going to send them to someone else, we're not going to do them.
That is a nice segue, because one of the things that parents are always afraid of in Halloween, even when I was a kid, was, oh my God, people are going to put drugs in the candy. Like, no, they're not.
That has never happened.
No one. If they found marijuana in their candy,
we'd be like, ew, this isn't candy. Fuck.
Yeah. Or at worst, they would say, wow, free marijuana. Like, that does not.
No one who has marijuana is giving it away for free to kids on Halloween.
Yeah, unless they do it by accident because they put the wrong bowl out, I guess.
I guess if they were doing it on Halloween and then some trick-or-treaters came.
Yeah, thing is, it doesn't make you stupid like that.
Hey, kids, want to get high?
Someone made a great tweet. It showed a tiny Twix bar broken open and just a handgun sitting in between. It's like, watch out! I found this in my kid's candy.
Yeah, no one has ever put razor blades in the candy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it has happened once in some crazy, but no, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Though when I was a kid in high school, a messed up kid in my class actually did open a box of candy and put needles in it and gave it to the teacher.
But that was a messed up kid, not an evil adult.
Yeah.
Even the craziest of adults didn't do that.
Yeah, craziest adult's gonna stab a bunch of people on an Amtrak or something instead.
That's right. Anyway.
Halloween.
I can't believe we never did an episode on this. So I was looking through some photos and I was in Connecticut last, and there were, no one really took a lot of photos, relatively speaking, unless we went to Disney World or some shit.
Yep.
But there were Halloween photos, so I saw some Halloween costumes that had been erased from my mind.
Ooh.
Like dog. And
my ones like that were
Gennaro scary mask that made my sister really upset.
My parents dressed us up. The earliest costume I can remember was Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy.
Okay.
Me and my little brother dressed up as them. I'm sure there's pictures of that I could find somewhere. The first costume that I had any input in is I wanted to be army guy and carry a gun, and that was 2nd or 3rd grade. Pretty sure 80% of the boys in my school were dressed up as army guy with gun that one year for some reason. I don't know what it was. We were all into army man with gun. We all had the same fake Colt 45 gun.
In 1st grade, the most popular thing everyone Ghostbuster was the top.
So everyone bought that plastic Ghostbusters like the toy, and use that as their costume. I had that toy, but instead, my mom made both of us legit fucking Ghostbusters costumes. Like, made them.
Yeah, there are some people who made them, some people who didn't.
Yep. The first costume.
I didn't do that because everyone else was doing it.
The costume that really tells you the path I was on is 4th grade. I dressed up as Vampire Hunter D. Because that was like, once I knew that
Did you
D
actually
existed,
look like Vampire Hunter D?
in my mind, I know that I looked exactly like Vampire Hunter D. I know. I looked exactly like that Amano drawing. I'm sure that is how it was, and I don't have a picture handy. I feel like if I never looked, then as far as I'm concerned, I looked exactly like D. And no one knew what the hell that was. Because no one watched anime. Anime didn't exist for those people.
I had some of those costumes where you bought them at Toys R Us, and it came with like a plastic mask or the rubber band.
I never had one of those. I knew they were cheap shit, even when I was a little kid.
Well, one of them that I had was Voltron, which is awesome. And the other one I had is something that I'm trying to look up because I always forget the goddamn name, but it's still in the basement.
The one where there's the 3 guys with the 3 different power suits?
Yes, and they snap things onto their body. I think it's a Hanna-Barbera thing.
I was a big fan of that show. Oh, fuck. What was it
It's a garbage show, by the way.
Yeah, 3 guys, power suits, kid
show.
show.
The way the action figures worked is the dude...
Centurions!
Is it Centurions?
Yes.
Let me look at the
It's
picture.
Centurions. Here, let me get some image. So, fun fact.
Let me look at it.
I typed into Google 3 guys, power suits, kid show, and Centurions was literally...
Let me look at the image. I'll tell you if you're correct.
I'm confident
It
it was
sounds right.
Centurions.
It sounds right.
Come on.
Just click
Google
on
image.
images. What are you doing? Yes.
These guys, yep.
I was
Yep.
the green guy with the yellow armor.
I was the blue guy because the green guy was sold out. He had the rocket on his arm.
The guy with those are good toys because the action figures basically had these little holes on them, sort of like Lego reverse, and then you could attach things to their armor.
And the costume had the same gimmick.
Yeah.
The costumes weren't just costumes. The costumes were toys.
No, the costume I had was basically a plastic onesie that you tied in the back, and then a plastic mask or the rubber band.
Oh, mine had a legit like hard plastic mask in 2 pieces. It also had a plastic thing to wear in my arm that had a detachable missile and a bunch of other components.
I didn't have any components. I had this Voltron one was the same way. It was a plastic thing with you tied it in the back, and then your feet stick out the bottom.
I just can't believe typing 3 guys power armor kids show totally worked.
I think it was the only one that had 3 guys.
Yeah, the 3 guys is definitely
You never did a
factor.
mask costume?
I couldn't find mask costumes, and they would have been really hard to make. In fact, mask toys were actually pretty hard to get because
Go on eBay. See what you find if you go to eBay.
yeah, I'm saying when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a kid, I got into masks like basically day one, like early days. There were you couldn't get those at even most Toys R Us's. The first time I ever saw a mask toy was at Children's Palace.
I think the thing about Halloween in general is you could tell the cool families, like you can tell like how good your childhood was and how nerdy it was based on your family's appreciation of Halloween, right?
Yeah, we
If you're
celebrated
mad like Jesus-y or whatever, it's like they weren't even letting you go out on Halloween. They weren't even acknowledging its existence.
Yep.
Right?
We'd get excited about
But if
Halloween.
you're like first we went to go get the pumpkins and the apple cider,
Yep.
and then we put on the cut, and then we got the candy, and then we ate the candy.
We would
and then
reliably
we
dress
had
up the house in like the most horrific, violent, like horror scenes we could imagine.
We had all kinds of. We just had normal decorations, but we kept getting more all the time. We never threw any away, so it just gave me.
Yeah.
It'd just be like. First, we just had like these cardboard things to stick up, and then we had like these vinyl bits, and it was so fun because you put like the vinyl bat in the window, and then you put little eyeballs on it, and then
I had this hanging skeleton that scared the shit out of me and my brother when we were really young. So we'd always like get it out every year and like it's time for the skeleton.
And then you'd make a ghost with like a foam ball and a little piece of cloth and tie it on a string on the
we
tree.
made those in school, but we never used them at home because they weren't scary enough. At home, I always wanted like corpses coming out of the ground. Well, toward high school, like we still did it, but we'd do things like make a noose and a gallows and hang somebody from it like a dummy and then scare people when they're coming to the house.
My mom still has I don't know how long she's had this thing, but at least since I was in elementary school, she has this sweatshirt. It's an orange sweatshirt, and on it is like Peanuts Halloween.
Break it out every year.
Like and she wears it every single year. She wears the Peanuts Halloween sweatshirt.
So I definitely have this perception though that like it's not
Little
just
great,
us getting...
little great pumpkin.
Yeah.
You know, a little Halloween special action.
The Halloween special I actually like the most.
They're all garbage, by the way, if you try to watch them now, so don't. But
Was
the ones that were the biggest deal when I was a kid.
The Garfield one, because that thing was actually like really legit scary and kind of fucked up.
The Garfield one was the best.
With those like pirate ghosts, and it wasn't
all right,
like...
so first of all, pirate ghosts, but really... The number one thing from the Garfield's Halloween special was he would go to the houses and just be like, gimme.
Yep.
And we'd just be like, we go up to houses and we'd be like, gimme. Gimme. Right? We're like, that was the inside joke.
But at the end, like when those pirate ghosts come, it's not like Scooby-Doo, oh no, a pirate ghost.
It's like, no, it's going to kill Garfield and Odie.
Yeah, it's got a knife. It's literally going to kill them. I read a great deconstructive retro blog that wrote about how if you watch that again in the context of the wider Garfield canon, there is a very solid reading.
And this was before there was a Garfield and Friends cartoon. This is like the only Garfield animation that existed that I knew of.
Yeah, and it's not Bill Murray, but as a kid I thought it was Bill Murray.
And I don't even think I don't remember it having any stupid Monday jokes or lasagna jokes in it. Right? I think he did kick Odie off the table though, which is the real Garfield joke they don't do anymore.
Well, Garfield and Friends was actually a pretty legit show.
Well, the Friends part especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sheldon.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, Halloween...
I don't remember any Halloween specials besides Peanuts and Garfield.
And we were also... I think it was partly just because of reading comics like Foxtrot and Calvin and Hobbes, but...
Those Foxtrot came way later.
Yeah, but even
Calvin
then...
and Hobbes was around.
But even like when Foxtrot was around and I read as a kid, like there was that mythos of kids maximizing their candy haul from all the newspaper comics, because those were a thing back then.
We didn't really super maximize, but it's like we got so much candy, it wasn't necessary to maximize.
We maximized when we lived in the suburbs outside of Detroit. When we were young, actually, because we lived in Detroit, we didn't go trick-or-treating. It was too dangerous. We actually would go to the mall in the rich suburbs, and
there was a mall next to us, and people did go to it, but we just went to all the houses on the block, and we also went to the houses on the next block and the next block.
We would go to the rich neighborhood. We go to Lakeside Mall, like out in the suburbs, and do trick-or-treating in the mall, because it was actually legit too dangerous to go around the neighborhood.
When we were in Beacon, I think no one ever came, maybe once.
That's because our house is in the fucking edge of town.
And in New York City, no one has ever even attempted to come, but you know what I figured out what they do in New York City?
No.
At least in my neighborhood, is they go to the stores. They don't go to no mall. They go to the stores, because I remember it was Halloween one year, and Halloween was on a Sunday. And I remember this because I was getting food at that lunchbox place that's closed now. And the guy in there was a Jets fan. And I know it was Sunday because I was watching the Giants game on Sunday Night Football, and it was on in there. And he had
How do you remember this? Because you don't remember fucking anything else.
If you watch sports, you don't forget them. And he had his little Jets pictures hanging on the wall and the thing. And a kid comes in to get some food. Not some food. A kid comes in to get some trick-or-treats, right? And he gives them apples. And I'm like, oh man, if I got apples, I would have like lit some, poop in a bag on your porch, right? On fire. But the kids were genuinely happy to get the apples, and they were eating the apples before they even left the store.
Whoa, what happened? What happened to kids?
Well, I mean, it is apple season.
Yeah, but like when I was a kid,
some fucking delicious apples. He probably got them from the Apple House.
When I was a kid, like we had apples in the house. My goal was full-size Snickers bars.
And it's like we went apple picking when we went to get the pumpkins. We had apples.
Yeah.
We didn't need you to give us any. Yeah, but it's like when I was a kid, no one ever tried to give you an apple, but people did give you the old lady candy. It's like, you don't want that shit. It's like, take it back, Grandma.
Yep. What do you want? You want a popcorn ball so dense that it literally requires a chisel to eat?
If it's not name brand, go fuck yourself. Take this Necco wafer and shove it up your ass.
I remember, sadly, there was a really nice old lady.
At least give me a Smartie.
And she would make like handmade candy apples, and she was super nice, but my parents wouldn't let us eat them. One, because as a kid, I thought candy apples were nasty, so I didn't want to eat them anyway.
Candy apples are not, they're really sweet, but they're not a good time to eat, and you can't finish them anyway.
Yeah.
And they're just a pain in the ass.
But
if you want to have a candy apple, here's what you do. Take an apple, cut it up with one of the little apple slicey things that you push down, and then just drizzle some butterscotch on it instead of caramel, because butterscotch is way better.
Always had a soupçon of cat hair, so...
that's a problem.
Yeah.
But just drizzle some fucking butterscotch on the apples, and then eat them. Or... make a baked apple. Ready for a baked apple recipe? It's the easiest thing in the world. Take apple. Core the apple.
Do not forget to core the apple. I learned that lesson.
Take the core out of the apple without removing the bottom of the apple. Put it in some tin foil. Then in the middle of that apple, shove in deliciousness like sugar, cinnamon.
Sugar, butter, cinnamon.
All kind, right? Close the tin foil over the top. Put it in a tray so you don't get apple juice all over your oven. Put it in the oven. Wait. Take it out of the oven. And now it is like apple pie without pie.
Also, don't use some mealy, nasty apple.
No, you
like,
got to
need
use
a good crisp apple.
You got to use the most quality apple that you can get.
I'm not going to get into apples.
Go to the Apple House and get like, a Jonah Gold or something.
Pretty sure we did an episode
nicely.
on apples recently where we talked about different cultivars.
I was going to do tonight's episode on apples and save the Halloween idea for Halloween times, but
we did an episode.
We already did
on
an
apples.
episode on apples
relatively recently.
No, it was a long time ago, but we haven't done an episode on Halloween. So
because I remember looking at the list of apple cultivars recently on a Geeknights episode. Maybe we were talking about something else.
I don't know.
I'll go find out what that episode was.
It seemed like an old episode, but we have done apples. If you want to hear the apple episode, go to frontrecruit.com and search for apples.
So I do feel like as time went on, like Halloween really changed as a holiday. Because as a kid, like I lived in Detroit, so Halloween
Halloween change or did we change?
I think Halloween changed.
I think both.
Yeah, we changed. Halloween changed because I've noticed that when I was a kid, like I didn't interact with that many adults who were younger than my parents, but it seemed like a lot of them stayed home or didn't do a lot. Like we'd go visit like friends of the family or whatever, like doing trick-or-treating, and the people who were our age, who were like their older kids or whatever, were just hanging around the house or not doing a lot.
Well,
I feel like now the Halloween party has become a big, like Halloween is a 20 to 30 something year old like big party holiday now.
You realize that right? So
maybe those kids of my parents' adults' friends were all just losers. Like I don't know.
No. So here's the problem where your memory is fucked up, right? So at that time, you were like elementary school, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Those kids you remember, like who were older than you,
they were like college kids home from college.
Right. They were college kids or teenagers, right? Anyone older than college kids in like the 80s was your parents.
Nah.
They were already parents. People had kids and got married younger just a few decades ago. Now you have people like us who are, early 30s, not married, no kids, so we're Halloweening it up, and we're also in a city, so we're doubling it up.
The city is a big thing because in New York, like go to St. Mark's or like go to any hip neighborhood on Halloween, it is party central.
Also, the college kids that were still at college and not home were partying it up also on Halloween.
Of course, I remember at RIT, there were not many Halloween parties. And
there was plenty of Halloween action.
Not that many. It wasn't that big.
There was a lot.
The frats threw their like giant like fucking parties.
There was big time Halloween action at RIT.
Wasn't that much?
It was like the last chance to have a blast before it fucking iced over everything.
Yeah, but I remember like a lot of the parties were actually the weekend before Thanksgiving. Because people...
Well, that's if it stayed warm and you got lucky, go again. Keep going until you can't go no more.
Or random parties out of nowhere, like that one that had the riot.
That wasn't random out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. They scheduled an event. It's like, hey, guys, this day, party. Racket Fest, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was. They picked that date randomly.
Anyway. What else is there to say about Halloween? You got the candy. You got the Halloween entertainment media, like the specials, and even the internets does
We
a lot
had this
of...
cassette tape that every year, and I was a big fan of it. It was a horror sound thing.
Oh, we had one of those.
And it was just like it was like dozens of people screaming violently.
Oh, ours was like had witches cackling.
It had that, but there's this undercurrent of humans screaming violently.
I'm sure you can just get an MP3 now. You don't need the cassette tape.
We'd always watch the horror movie around Halloween, like the days before Halloween. Like we'd sit down and watch like some slasher film, like as a family. That was always the thing we'd do.
Little alien action.
Yeah, more like Jason kind of movies.
Well, Jason got action?
Yeah, Jason, Freddy, like that kind of stuff. That was our Halloween jam. I was a big fan. Like what I like to do with my little friends is...
Your little friends?
Yeah, like when I was little.
Where are your little friends?
They're chasing the moon in 1Q84. The little people.
Okay.
I like to tell ghost stories. Like not believing in ghosts, just telling ghost stories to where
I've never had someone tell a ghost story and have it actually be scary in any way.
Yeah. Well, I sometimes would do a jump scare as part of my ghost story. I also...
jump scare because you can't get a real scare because you suck.
I can get real scares, but the way I got real scares was telling ghost stories like they were true to gullible friends. That got the scare, especially when I tell ghost stories about my own house that as a kid, when I was younger.
That I remember you telling me these stories at RIT, and you absolutely believed them at that time.
No, that is how you tell a good ghost story.
You were trying to convince us so desperately that your house you grew up in was actually haunted.
We have some friends.
And
I remember.
I was basically like, that's bullshit. You're crazy.
I remember that specific time because we went on this long walk. Like I remember we walked like through Rochester and we ended up like in that big cemetery. And I was telling those stories because some of our friends who will not be named were getting legit nervous.
But you believe them.
I believed them when I was a little kid. Now I'm
You
just a good
believed
story.
them at RIT.
I did not believe.
You believed other nonsense at RIT too.
I
like,
did, but I did not believe at RIT that my house was actually haunted.
You seemed as if you were convinced.
I was trying to legit scare people.
There
In
was
fact,
also
I
that-
tell those stories every year on FARC.
There was a
in the
time we were
Halloween
walking
thread.
through a woods and you were trying to convince me that fairies were real, and
That was the exact same walk.
and I was upsetting them.
Yeah.
Right? And you legit believed in fairies, and I was the only one who was like, "That's bullshit. What's wrong with you?"
All right, well, because
it's
remember, Damn It
just
Dwayne.
trees.
Damn It Dwayne was a druid, I guess.
Well, Damn It Dwayne definitely believed even more than you did.
Damn It Dwayne was real easy to convince about stuff, but that's a separate
Well,
story for a separate
he believed
time.
it on his own.
Yeah, I think he had some chemical help. But the best way to tell a ghost
Damn
story
it, Dwayne.
is to act like it's true and tell people like this legit fucking thing happened to me. I swear to God.
Act like you believed it too.
If you want to scare people and you want legit ghost stories, go find the FARC Halloween thread. And every year, the tradition is people just tell stories like that. And
I'm sure you could find old FARC Halloween threads.
oh yeah, every FARC Halloween thread is up there. They are
I'm sure there's an archive of it somewhere.
they are actually my current favorite Halloween pastime. I love ghost stories.
Ooh.
Except, my grandma's ghost stories because she had Alzheimer's and thought she saw ghosts partly because of that. And yeah.
One time, I saw a ghost.
One time I saw a ghost.
Nothing else to say about Halloween except,
Well, this Halloween I'm going to a wedding in Florida, and it's a costume Halloween wedding.
get some drunk on sugar.
So I'm gonna. Actually, I can't eat candy anymore. That's the biggest. I feel like I'd eat a lot of candy for nostalgia
I can't
reasons.
eat as much candy, but I can eat candies.
I can't eat even like one candy bar, like one Snickers bar. I will feel like I need to vomit.
Really?
A whole full-size Snickers bar, I could not eat.
If I'm hungry, I can eat a Snickers.
I could eat one mini Snickers.
I don't like
bar.
Snickers though. Three Musketeers is way better.
Three Musketeers has like no calories in it. Like there's nothing going on.
That's why it's easier to eat.
Yeah, that's why old people eat mostly
But I
Three
mean,
Musketeers.
I could eat some peanut M&M.
Yeah, I could eat like a half a cup of peanut M&Ms.
I think we've done episodes on candy though, but yeah, Butterfingers are disgusting.
Butterfingers are the worst.
Twix are disgusting.
Butterfingers are the nastiest nonsense. Oh
and
my God.
The worst is Mounds, and the second worst is Almond Joy, which is saved by the nuts.
No, Mounds don't.
Right. They're both
Almond
disgusting
Joy
with their
got nuts.
disgusting fake
Mounds
coconut
don't.
disgustingness.
See, those aren't that bad. They're no Butterfinger. Butterfingers taste like bile.
Yeah.
They taste like acrid bile.
I don't know why they just didn't put the Reese's peanut butter in the Butterfingers instead of this not good, disgusting, not peanut butter garbage.
Yeah.
Or just do a Snickers. Doesn't have a fucking peanut in there.
You're skipping because you want to talk about bad candy. Circus peanuts.
Yeah. Okay. Circus peanut,
Yeah.
Necco wafer, old lady candy.
Yeah. No,
Mary Jane's.
I would eat a pound of Necco wafers before I would eat one circus peanut.
I would eat neither. Peeps, disgusting.
I would eat a peep before I'd eat a circus peanut in the modern era.
Yes, I would, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's not saying much.
Yeah. But we did an episode on this. Enjoy a spoofy Halloween. And yeah. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.